Hello everyone, my name is Simeon and today we're going to be taking a look at this article titled The Pale Blue Dot. Alright? And as normal, we're going to be going through this line by line just to give you a better explanation as to what each of these terms mean to break down the article. We're going to be focusing on the blue portions as well as underlined portions of the article as they're more difficult to understand. And so let's get started. Here we go. From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest. What does this term vantage point mean? Well, a vantage point is a place where you would have a point of view or a perspective. So, for an example, from this vantage point, we can see the entire sky of stars, but we cannot see the Earth because we're on it, because we're in it, I'm going to say, right? So in order for us to be able to see ourselves, we have to be not in this Earth, we have to be in the sky, right, in space. So for us to be able to see ourselves, we have to send a satellite all the way out into space, take a picture of ourselves like a mirror. And so from our particular point of view, we can't see ourselves, so it's not of any interest to us. But think of it. Think of it. But for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That dot is being used to describe the Earth. We are a small planet. That's here, that's home, that's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know. Right? So everyone that you love and hold dear lives on this Earth, right? Everyone you know, unless you know of any aliens. Unless you have any alien friends, which I doubt that you do, because if you did, I would have already seen a movie about it, or I'd have read your book, and have seen you on the news claiming that you have an alien friend, right? So I'm sure that you don't have one if you're listening to this. Maybe I just don't know. Maybe I haven't seen you. All right? So everyone you ever heard of, right? Every person who has ever lived on this Earth is on this Earth, had been on this Earth, or is on it right now, right? And so every human being who ever was lived out their lives. So if we think about that, every human being, the aggregate of our joy and suffering, right? So the aggregate means the total sum. The total sum. The total sum, total amount of all human experience, that being positive or negative, joyful or suffering. Right? If we think of everything that we as a species have enjoyed, and all that we as a species have endured on this Earth, we can think of this total sum. Thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Right? It's interesting, a confident religion. I like this term because it reminds me of a story that I learned of about 3 blind men and an elephant. So if we had an elephant in the room and we took 3 blind men and told them to touch the elephant in different parts. First you put the first blind man by the trunk, the second underneath, third by the tail, and then after you get them to sit in a room and discuss what they felt, they would all be very confident, right? And all believe that each individual knows what another doesn't, or the others are lying, and they might start fighting about it. And then that's how we have wars of religion and ideology, as we have, not recognizing that each person has our own vantage point, and each culture has our own vantage point. So not just that, our own cultural understanding might not be all-encompassing, might not be the aggregate. It's just a vantage point, right? Ideologies, economic doctrines, similar ideas, right? If you think of all our economic doctrines we've had over the years, capitalism, socialism, Marxism, communism, feudalism, all the isms and schisms, as Bob Marley would have sang. So Bob Marley just saw all of these isms and schisms, all these doctrines as it's just foolishness and not worth dying over. He didn't want to be a part of it. It made sense during his life, which was when the Cold War was going on, and everyone in Jamaica was affected about this. And so, every hunter and forager. As a hunter, animal who hunts a smaller animal for food, we have a hunter gene in us as well. And a forager. So did you know that the simple rat is a great forager? And a forager is an animal that finds or searches for food from garbage or from food that is not desired by others. So the rat will actually finds its joy in searching through our human garbage. And so when I say rat, you get a bit, the hairs standing up on the back of your neck. You feel kind of gross. Ew, a rat. Ew. But yet we throw out so much food every day that gives the rats so much food to feast on every night that they continue populating and growing bigger and bigger and bigger in our cities, right? So we hate them, but we also feed them and make sure they're surviving. And not just surviving, but thriving. In fact, it reminds me of this other story I had in China. I used to enjoy going out to an outdoor food market, which is full of small food stands with a great amount of food options to choose from in the night. As it's hot during the day, most people preferred to be outside in the nighttime. So I would remember how people would buy, many different dishes and leave some food on the plate after finishing their snacks. And so not only would the rats love this place, but I remember another interesting type of forager. It was a human one. It was a guy. And so this guy used to come and slurp up the soups, the noodles, and chew the unwanted meat off the wooden skewers, the wooden sticks that they would barbecue the meat on. And people thought he was disgusting. They're like, ugh, so gross. He's disgusting, cheap, and poor. He smells bad. But he was making sure that we didn't waste food. And actually, he was providing a pretty good public service. And it was one thing that I remember about him. He was the fattest man on the street, the biggest forager I've ever seen. He never paid a cent for food, but he was the fattest of us all. I've always thought that was really ironic. And so every hero and coward that we have in history, every hero, someone brave enough to live out a life that he wants or that she wants, and the cowards who just follow and do not do what they really want to do. Every creator and destroyer of civilization. Now, when I think of this as a creator of civilization, it doesn't have to be just a king or a prince or a great leader. It's the little people. It's you and I. Every day we go out and we're creating this civilization. We're working. We're playing our part in maintaining the whole system. We can also destroy civilization if we want. But that's a different subject. And so every king and peasant, so talking about social classes, we see ants. And ants have a social hierarchy as well. They have a queen, then they have the worker ants. And so it doesn't really matter. They're all playing their part, right? Everyone's playing their part. Every young couple in love, they play their part too. Think, if we didn't have young people in love, we wouldn't have any babies. We wouldn't have any people repopulating the earth. It's very important. Every mother and father, hopeful child, an inventor, an explorer, right? So every person who saw a problem and wanted to solve it. Every person who was not satisfied with his or her little village and wanted to explore, seeking fame or fortune abroad. These are great stories, and all these people lived here on this earth. Every teacher of morals, right? So if we think of all the religions, like we said, if we boiled them all down, we'd get a soup that would taste similar. A few spices would be different here and there. Ones would be spicier than others. Ones would be sweeter than others. But it would be the same type of stew. Every corrupt politician, if we boiled down every corrupt politician, from the communism, capitalism, Marxism, socialism, neoliberalism, I'm sure we would get the same stinky stench that we wouldn't want to drink at all. I'm sure that it would smell the same. From every country, every different walk of life, every culture, every language, they smell the same of stench and corruption. Every superstar, every person who is able to have charisma and lead and inspire huge